it is. So, we can continue, but I wanted to talk a little bit about illegals. I don't know if you saw this from Michelle Malkin this week.
I heard about it, but I didn't see it.
And so we've got this, and it's about remittances by illegal aliens. We've talked about it on the show before.
How much goes across the border to Mexico?
Are the illegal aliens? Just one more. It's not the fact that they just use up services when illegal aliens are here, but they're collecting money under the table.
Yeah, untaxed revenue going right back to Mexico.
And these people, they're putting it to Western Union or Bank of America.
And do the cartels get a cut?
Exactly the point she's making.
Oh, okay. Well, right? No, I didn't hear it. I'm sorry.
Exactly. This is the point she's making. So, Derek, do you have this track from Michelle Malkin available? All right, let's run that.
And in the middle of that research, I discovered that the Federal Reserve itself was trying to hone in on this segment of the market with its own program to have a remittance program that is specifically marketed to illegal aliens in America. And this program still exists. It doesn't make a lot.
Oh, we lost it.
That was it?
No, there's something in there. When you get it back, Derek, let me know.
Have you ever seen on some of the cell phone plans, like my wife has something, Puppy Wireless or something. It's an inexpensive wireless service. Hey, it's
Puppy
cheap.
Wireless?
You know? It's cheap, all right? But you look at the contract, and there's all these things in there for sending money over your phone, via your cell phone. I'm thinking, how attractive an option is that for people to send money? Well, then I dug deeper. No, it's to send money to the home country. That's what, and you do it through your cell phone. So basically, you don't even go to Western Union.
So the cell phone company is getting its cut.
Yes,
which is probably why they're offering the discounted rate on these throwaway phones or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Derek's got it ready. Go ahead, play it.
The idea that the federal government itself is breaking the laws of aiding and abetting illegal aliens and that it hasn't been shut down. I mean, not only should President Trump fulfill the promise that he made many, 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 many months ago to tax remittances, but he should shut down this Federal Reserve program as well. And Judicial Watch has been suing for more information. They've been waiting for years to get it. They should release it to the Trump administration should release it to Judicial Watch and then shut it down. For people who are curious to know more about it, get the book, and it's on pages 34 and 35 where I talk about the actual program. Specific. It's called Directo a Mexico. And I reported for the first time because I was just digging and found on a I can't remember what the website is, but it's cited how they marketed the program in I believe it was in Minnesota, and so taxpayer money was used to have a little fair, and there were games, and they brought families in to recruit illegal alien customers.
How do you satirize this? You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. You could. This is our own government.
Well, I'm surprised that two of them should know better. The Federal Reserve is not our own federal government. It is a private corporation.
Which makes it even worse because our federal government contracts with the Federal Reserve, basically.
Do you think Federal Express really is a part of the federal government? No, the Federal Reserve isn't either. It's a bankers organization.
Which makes it even worse because here we are. Why is these private companies controlling our
economy? Our
economy,
yeah.
Right? Which is just terrible. But I didn't realize that that's how bad it was.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the Federal Reserve was involved in all that. I mean, it's exactly right. How much money are we losing by not taxing these people who are working here illegally, not paying tax on their money, and booting it back to Mexico or overseas, China or wherever they're from, right?
What was the phrase in The Godfather about, was it wetting my beak? That's the Federal Reserve. I'm just wetting my beak. I just want a little bit of the action,
They are wetting their beak, absolutely. So that's part of it. Let's take a quick call from Joe in Wyandotte wants to talk about the Second Amendment. Joe, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hey guys. Ed, you mean Federal Express isn't run by the post office?
No, isn't that amazing? Although the post office is run by Amazon.
News feed sound.
Say it again. I'm sorry, Joe. I was talking. I missed it.
You need the breaking news feed sound, to give us a breaking news alert on when you do those things.
But the post office is run by Amazon. You know that, right?
And Ed, did I hear this right earlier? Gary was trying to set up and peddle the notion that he is, quote, of sound mind, unquote.
Yeah, he has his moments.
Anyone that listens to the show knows better than that. So,
and our next caller, who is our next?
Yeah, but anyway, I wanted to tie the first, the second, and right to vote all together. Our votes, our rights, and at the rights of trampling the rights of others. Now, I get tired of hearing, like, well, we can restrict the Second Amendment like we restrict the First Amendment. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. Wrong. That's not freedom of speech. That's not protected political speech. It's not protected religious speech. It is a commission of fraud and inciting a riot. That is a completely different animal.
Well, so is shooting a gun in a crowded theater, right?
Right. Your right to own a gun ends when you violate someone else's space with that gun. Armed robbery is indeed a crime and should be a crime when you're using it to impose your will on somebody else rather than defend yourself. That's a whole other thing, because then the whole voting thing. I have a right to vote, and I have a right to expect the government to protect my legal vote by enacting voter ID to prevent an invalid, illegal vote from stealing or countering my legal vote.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, the elites in power don't believe that.
Yeah. But these common sense arguments don't seem to go anywhere because most people have no basic understanding of the Constitution. They haven't even read that, let alone the Federalist Papers or whatever, to understand. They backed up the Constitution with the Federalist and Anti-Federalist Papers so people would understand their mindset and indeed what those short sentences mean, backed up by volumes of other information of their intent.
Yeah. Well, do we blame our public school system for no longer doing the civics class?
I had a liberal.
Absolutely.
I was arguing with a liberal in comments on Facebook this morning, amazingly enough, and this guy says, well, you know, he's challenging what I said. He says, well, I took civics and I took history and I know what I'm talking about. I says, excuse me, they don't teach those anymore. And whose fault is that, buddy? Yours. Jeez.
That's right. They don't even call it history. They call it social studies because it's a spin on history, aspects of history that they want to peddle to reshape minds towards the socialist order now.
Yep.
Yeah,
Howard Zinn's Americanization,
You cannot rely on the public school system in most instances, not all, in most instances, to give your kids the tools they need when it comes to history and government civics anymore because they're just not teaching it. I mean, and you see it they're getting into college and they don't have the basic constitutional education to understand what first and second and third and fourth and fifth and sixth, all those amendments mean.
They don't even know what battle was fought by who and where. Watch Water's World sometime, you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
What else?
and you can't even, they'll use Google, of course, and of course, what are the first results? All left-wing spin sites that are rewriting and trying to do the same thing, represent history in a way that will be reinterpreted to peddle the socialist agenda. I mean, the Howard Zinn garbage.
Right.
We need to go back to the textbooks that were in the schools from the 1960s.
Well, we have some better textbooks available, like by Bill Bennett. He's just come out with a new history book, but we've got to get it in the school systems.
Yeah. All right, Joe. Well, thanks. The lines are lighting up, so I appreciate the call.
Thanks a lot, my
See you,
friends.
Joe.
Take care. I love you.
Take care. Love you too. Bye. Let's take a call from Walter on line 3. Walter, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Hey, man. Instead of us same guys calling you all the time every week, I'm going to have to refer to some of the 910 patients over to you guys, man. They'll be glad to debate with you guys, some of the black haters from the other station.
They're afraid to call. Walter.
They wouldn't call this show, that's for sure. What do you got, Walter?
Man, I would love that fact.
Wait a minute, you're a 910 patron. That's all I hear about from you is 910.
What do you got? You wanted to talk about the Democratic debate, Walter?
Yeah, about do you guys know, and I think she claims to be a Christian, so I said claimed. By the way, I just saw her on the 700 Club. She was one of the moderators, the real light-skinned black lady by the name of Lindsay. I've seen her on World News. You guys know who that is?
No.
I've seen her on 700 Club pushing her Christian, I guess I'm assuming Christian children books.
No, doesn't ring a bell to me. Doesn't ring a bell. What else you got?
She was one of the moderators at the. I don't call it the debate. I would call it debacle, debauchery, and.
Oh, I'm sorry. She was a moderator like Jorge Ramos was.
Jorge.
Yeah.
She was the one that kept asking the race questions.
Okay. All right.
She's like maybe a softer version or maybe a better looking version, of course.
So she was the token Christian?
Who's always. Yeah, she's supposed to be a Christian. I just saw her being interviewed on the 700 Club.
Okay, so what's going on?
She just had to ask a bunch of racial questions, just catering to the haters, catering to the people, the brain dead zombies in the crowd who kept cheering over foolishness, nonsense.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder how they fill that audience.
Hey, as long as will you hold that thought for a second? I called Phil's show this morning because it's about abortion, and Beto O'Rourke was challenged by a guy, hey, I was born on a certain day. Was my life any valid a day earlier? And Beto says, blah, blah, blah. No, we cherish your life and everything, but your mom had a right to choice, and we're going to protect the right to choice. And a whole audience of young women cheered as if the Beatles had just walked on stage in 1964. I was just, how do you get so excited over the thought of killing your baby?
The day before it's born.
Yeah.
Ed, I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Thank you.
I hope everybody observed the people in the crowd. That's who horrified me the most, the people in the crowd. Yeah. And by the way, since we're on that subject, who horrifies me the most in this country are the voters, not the politicians.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't know a good politician if God dropped a bucket of chitlins out of the clouds on top of their heads.
That's why term limits is not the answer, because a known knave, well, let's put it this way, a known good guy will get replaced by an unknown knave because of term limits. You get rid of Ted Cruz, you might have gotten a Beto because somebody with an established reputation like Ted Cruz. I mean, that was close. What if Ted Cruz had to step down and now you got two moderates, or somebody moderate versus Beto, and then Beto's a senator from Texas?
Yeah. Could you imagine that Beto or could you imagine it coming that close, man, with Ted Cruz, him and Ted Cruz? I can't, man. What's wrong with the people in Texas?
He had a different gun policy then.
He certainly did.
Yeah.
I was going to pull that track, but I ran out of time. But during the Senate race, as a Senate candidate in Texas, he said people have an absolute right to keep and use their AR-15s legally. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, you're on the national stage now doing, we're going to take your guns? Well, a lying hypocrite.
Any of those politicians, this is what any of them, if you believe in killing babies, abortion, everything else, this is where I feel. Everything else you say means nothing to me. Even the good you say, because I don't trust you, because you got an evil, dark, and rotten, hellish heart. Yeah. You can talk casual and sit down and eat a barbecue dinner and look at a baby being aborted and then don't even flinch. But listen, let me get back to her real quick. She so-called Christian missed a good opportunity. She wanted to dwell on racism in the country, which is a man-manufactured lie started by Barack Obama. That's right, Barack Obama. Who can forget him? He started all this racial mess.
The first half-white president.
Trump, you bunch of liars, not Donald Trump. And she missed the opportunity to take a stand for Donald Trump, and she blew it when she kept on talking about racism and what would they do in this racial climate that Barack Obama started. If you don't bring up his name, you're wasting my time. And also, she blew opportunity to say, yeah, you guys keep saying racist. He's a racist. He's this. What about the unemployment with the minorities? She didn't do it.
Yeah, of course
not. Wasted our time, man.
Yeah. Hey, is that catching on?
Crooked moderator.
Is that catching on with the guys you work around, the guys you're exposed to on your job? Is that catching on? The economy getting better? Is there any movement there?
Ed, I happen to work at a local trucking company, and I've been blessed. And by the way, that's how I got hired, through a guy that knew that somehow he knew that I was conservative. about my mannerisms. He didn't look so much at color, but he just thought I was the kind of person